My name is Jesper, and this is a demo of my interactive segmentation app, a small Python script that takes webcamera input, feeds it to a neural network, and lets the neural network classify each pixel in the input image as belonging to a foreground and a background class. I'm now going to teach the network what is foreground and background by giving it examples through this cursor. Left click will annotate the colored pixels, including the center of the small cursor, as either foreground with the left mouse button or background with the right mouse button. I'm now going to show off how to teach the segmentation network, how to learn the essence of what is my nose. So I'm going to start out by giving it a couple of samples of my nose and a couple of background samples, just picking out from the image. The blue color you can see is the response of the neural network when we classify a background, and the red one is foreground. I can immediately see that the network is dynamically trying to find the difference between the samples or the annotations I've been giving the network, and I can see where it's misclassifying. And using the cursor, I can walk around the image and add positive and negative samples where I find them most needed in the neural network's output. So I can see at the moment that it has sort of figured out that my body is mostly background. It's sort of like that's a consistent color. The background wall is also background, and we sort of have a lock on where the nose is. But I can see that the network is sort of confused in the areas where the color is sort of changing. So I can make the network more robust for this given image-based case by exploring where it's in doubt in effect. I'm going to expand the image space a bit more by adding more samples of my nose from various other angles, and I will see. I can see that there are false positives, and I'll just try to prune them out. The reason for starting this whole endeavor has been that I've had a hard time figuring out how much data is actually needed to be able to train a neural network to solve any given case. When working in the classical way, the way I've seen neural networks being showed off everywhere, it's been like you have a data set, and then you build a structure, and you iterate on your model until you give some sort of quality level, and then you sort of stop there. But that leaves me in the case where when I work with my own data, I have no idea if I need 100,000 or a million data points to be able to create a neural network that will classify a given problem domain. The neural network is quite strong in translational invariance, means that I'm quite robust in recognizing my nose when I see it various places in the same image. It's a bit harder with scale, so I need to sort of brute force that by adding examples of my upscaled nose, so we can know what is my nose. I can see that I get a lot of I get some false positives while I evolve the network. At the moment, the network is you can see that the blue and reddish intensity it's not consistent everywhere, and that these are the areas where we're in doubt. To give a more clear distinction, you can basically just amplify the output of the neural network, and that'll give us a more sharp visual edge of the two classes. But the idea of this neural network project has been to explore how much data is actually needed to do a segmentation of my nose. There are still false positives around, but I'm sure that I'll be able to prune out those cases and have the network evolve through something that's somewhat usable. This is quite interesting to me because I've been spending quite a bit of time working with classical computer vision, trying to solve problems like this before, and basically giving up every time because it's been very difficult for me to make a functioning rule-based way of deciding on tracking something like a feature like this. As you can see, while the network is training, it's sort of like it's fluctuating in a way. It seems like it's overshooting the data sometimes, especially when I'm pulling the samples around. It seems that when I say that my nose should be classified as positive, I sort of get this fluctuation. So that would give me an indication that I should probably turn down the learning rate a bit. I can also turn up the regulation in the hope that we will find a more smooth separation of the image space into this foreground and background class. I have these cases I can interactively trigger where I'm weak, and it's really easy to see the doubt areas when I turn off the amplification, because that's sort of where the lack of confidence sort of turns out of these dark areas. In the top right corner, I've just made a small outline. This square indicates how big is the receptive field that the neural network has. The neural network consists of 7 layers, and they are set up to output the same resolution as the input, but they use a 3x3 kernel, and they have a dilated convolutional rate of 2, which means that every sample is picked up not from the immediate neighbors, but they are multiplied a bit up. That helps me get receptive field that's sort of usable for this case. In this case, where my nose is being classified, I would know that the area actually being taken into consideration before coloring the pixels includes part of my glasses. I would know that the glasses is part of my profile. I'm sure that if I take them off, there will be a weaker response. But anyway, this kind of gives me the idea of what is my nose. I can see that when I cover my nose tip, I think I've taught this network somehow what the essence of my nose is. I have a problem in these side cases. The neural network doesn't learn the shape of my nose, just being taught finding similarities between all the examples that I'm giving the neural network. So anything that changes shape has to be learned by brute force learning many features, whereas just offsetting the image around should be reusing the same features. I'm also not very rotational invariant at the moment, but again, the neural network can brute force itself out of that by just creating samples that would do this. I could probably add some image or data set annotation. I could probably flip the image to expand the data set. While running the neural network, I'm constantly training. You can see a number up here. That's 6,000 something. That's the number of mini batches that I've run through the neural network. So that's a small batch of samples. I think it's 4 or 8 samples. I can't remember right now. I've given the neural network roughly 1,591 examples of what is foreground and background, but you must notice that we're not giving the entire image. I haven't spent energy in annotating each and every part of this of this image. I've only annotated roughly 5 pixels per image, which means that it's a relatively lightweight task to create annotations. I find this especially useful for stretching your annotation economy as much as possible. The last thing I just want to show off before ending the demo is that the data set that's been picked up can be viewed or edited. You can press E, and then you'll get access to the neural network annotations that's been given over time, and you can basically go in and do corrections. So if I wanted to make the neural network more robust towards this special case, I might, if I press X, I can see the response map. I can see that the neural network in this case were actually responding a bit to my chin up here and to the side of my glasses. I can go in and in post classify the entire image as the entire image as background and just mark the tip of my nose. So this will be a much more rigorous annotation sample than all the others that I've been putting into the system. Most of them has been like these 5 pixels at a time. The full image would account for a lot of the pixel samples. I think it's 140 times 120, so it's quite a bit of the pixel budget that's actually been annotated. But getting the results as we see here is achieved in, I would say, around 5 minutes. Let's see, we're still fixing it up. Roughly 5 minutes. I have 1618 images that has been annotated somewhat or partly, and in all, we've been annotating roughly a bit under 30,000 pixels to get an annotation of a relatively complex image domain, I would say. And I think this is quite interesting. So I'm glad to to share this, and I hope that somebody will reap some benefit from it. And I would look forward to hearing what people have to say about this interactive approach to playing with neural networks. Thank you.